Chapter 11. Annie, I'm pregnant. Still in the shadows of the Senate office's hallways, Anakin suddenly felt lightheaded. Padme stared into his eyes, waiting for him to say something. That's... he began, then sighed and looked away. With a sudden realization that their marriage could not be a secret much longer, his first thoughts were of how this development would impact on their lives. Padme might be recalled to Naboo, and I'll be cast out in disgrace from the Jedi Order. It will be a scandal. Then his gaze met Padme's again, and he saw how frightened she was. Well, he said, that's wonderful. He smiled. Less than assured, Padme said, what are we going to do? We're not going to worry about anything right now, Anakin said, holding her tight. All right? This is a happy moment, the happiest moment of my life. Later that night, in Padme's apartment in Galactic City, Anakin had a nightmare so terrible that he nearly shouted when he awoke. He tried to ease himself out of bed quietly so Padme would not be aware of his absence, but she woke up too and found him standing on the terrace, watching the air traffic glide past her apartment windows. What's bothering you? Padme asked. Nothing, he said. Padme was wearing the good luck charm that Anakin had carved for her shortly after they'd met. He reached out to touch the charm and said, I remember when I gave this to you. Padme gave him a hard stare and said, how long is it going to take us to be honest with each other? Anakin took a deep breath. It was a dream, he admitted. Bad? Like the ones I used to have about my mother just before she died. And it was about you. Padme moved closer to Anakin and said, tell me. Anakin moved a short distance away. It was only a dream, he said, but as soon as the words had been uttered, he felt them to be untrue. It wasn't just a dream. It was real, and it's going to happen. He turned to face Padme and said, you die in childbirth. Padme tried not to cringe. And the baby? I don't know. Padme moved again to Anakin's side. It was only a dream, she said, now trying to convince herself as well as say Anakin. I won't let this one become real, Anakin vowed. This baby will change our lives, Padme said. I doubt the Queen will continue to allow me to serve in the Senate. And if the Council discovers you're the father, you'll be expelled. I know, Anakin stammered, trying to push away those realities. I know. Do you think Obi-Wan might be able to help us? We don't need his help, Anakin said, and glowered as he imagined his master's reprimands. When he noticed that Padme looked frightened by his expression, Anakin shifted his features into a gentle smile and said, our baby is a blessing. Anakin thought about the dream again, hoping that it wasn't an accurate depiction of things to come, but somehow knowing in his heart that it was. Fortunately, he knew someone who was something of an expert on premonitions. Premonitions? Master Yoda said. Premonitions. It was the morning after his nightmare about Padme, and Anakin was in Yoda's quarters in the Jedi Temple. They were seated across from each other, and shafts of bright sunlight shifted through the blinds that lined the windows of the sparsely furnished room. Yoda said, these visions you have, they're of pain, suffering, death. Yourself you speak of, or someone you know? Anakin was reluctant to offer too many details, but admitted, someone. Close to you? Anakin lowered his gaze and felt almost ashamed as he answered, yes. Raising a cautionary finger, Yoda fixed Anakin with a penetrating gaze and said, careful you must be when sensing the future, Anakin. The fear of loss is a path to the dark side. Anakin recalled the dreams that had preceded his mother's death and then of his failure to save her. Returning Yoda's gaze, he said flatly, I won't let these visions come true, Master Yoda. Death is a natural part of life, Yoda explained. Rejoice for those around you who transform into the Force. Mourn them, do not. Miss them, do not. Attachment leads to jealousy. The shadow of greed, that is. Hoping to stay on the right path this time, Anakin said, what must I do, Master Yoda? Train yourself to let go of everything you fear to lose. I might be able to let go of being a Jedi, Anakin thought, but I can't let go of Padme. I just can't. I love her too much. I won't let her die. I won't. Soon after Anakin's meeting with Yoda, Palpatine confided to Anakin that he feared the Jedi Council wanted more control than they already had in the Republic. Anakin found this difficult to believe, but agreed to become Palpatine's personal representative on the Council. Because only Jedi Masters served on the Council, Anakin assumed that his appointment would guarantee his promotion to Master, and felt insulted when the Council insisted that he remain a Knight. After his first awkward meeting with the Council, Anakin learned from Obi-Wan that the Council wanted him to report on all of Chancellor Palpatine's dealings. It seemed that Anakin was the only Jedi who trusted Palpatine. Palpatine suspects the Council is up to something, and the Council wants me to spy on Palpatine. Who should I trust? Anakin tried talking with Padme, but when she expressed her concern that democracy no longer existed in the Republic, he accused her of sounding like a separatist. Is she turning against me too? Later that night, Palpatine summoned Anakin to meet him in the Chancellor's private box at the Galaxy's Opera House. There, while watching a troupe of Mon Calamari perform a zero-gravity ballet within immense spheres of shimmering water, Palpatine informed Anakin that the clone intelligence units had discovered that General Grievous was hiding in the Utapau system. After dismissing his aides from the box, Palpatine further confided that he had come to suspect that the Jedi Council wanted to control the Republic and was planning to betray them. Palpatine said, "They asked you to spy on me, didn't they?" Squirming in his seat beside the Chancellor, Anakin replied, I don't know what to say. Remember back to your early teachings, Palpatine continued. All those who gain power are afraid to lose it, even the Jedi. No, that's not true, Anakin thought. The Jedi use their power for good, he insisted. Good is a point of view, Anakin, Palpatine said calmly. The Sith and the Jedi are similar in almost every way, including their quest for greater power. That's not true either. The Sith rely on their passion for their strength, Anakin said. They think inwards, only about themselves. And the Jedi don't? Palpatine asked, lifting his eyebrows high to convey his belief that the answer was as plain as his face. The Jedi are selfless, Anakin countered. They only care about others. There was applause from the audience, and Anakin and Palpatine directed their attention to the performers. Palpatine said, Did you ever hear the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise? No, Anakin admitted. I thought not, Palpatine said smugly. It's not a story the Jedi would tell you. It's a Sith legend. Darth Plagueis was a Darth Lord of the Sith, so powerful and so wise he could use the Force to influence the midichlorians to create life. He slowly turned his gaze to Anakin before he continued. He had such a knowledge of the dark side that he could even keep the ones he cared about from dying. Anakin thought immediately of Padme and of his most recent nightmares and felt a tingling sensation along his spine. He said he could actually save people from death? The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural. Anakin thought about Darth Plagueis, wondering just how much of the legend might be true. He said, What happened to him? Looking away from Anakin, Palpatine answered slowly. He became so powerful, the only thing he was afraid of was losing his power, which eventually, of course, he did. Unfortunately, he taught his apprentice everything he knew. Then his apprentice killed him in his sleep. It's ironic. He could save others from death, but not himself. Because the Chancellor was such a learned man and had discussed the ongoing hunt for Darth Sidious with members of the Jedi Council, Anakin wasn't curious about how he might have learned such a bizarre story about the Sith. Anakin only wanted to know one thing. Is it possible to learn this power? He asked. Raising his eyebrows, Palpatine turned to once again lock his gaze on Anakin and said, Not from a Jedi.